So yeah, a lot to talk about in this video. You guys are probably wondering, Robbie, where in the world is People Can Fly? You know, the guys that developed Outriders and promised updates to us. Well, there's actually a reason why we haven't heard from them on a work day, because guess what? It is a holiday in Poland right now. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But of course, that is not an excuse, in my opinion, to hear from, the team right now. I think some sort of tweet or something would be nice, at least, considering we went through the weekend not hearing anything from the team. But yeah, we've seen a lot of problems with Outriders. It's been really, really weird. Part of the community is still really enjoying the game. Part of the community has had massive issues with the game. But right now, I think it's safe to say that People Can Fly needs to be generous immediately to the player base. And we're going to talk about this topic right here, about just that, about how People Can Fly can really save the game going forward. Plus, there's an excellent idea floating out there in the community about how to resolve problems with expeditions. We're going to explore that as well. And get this, did you know People Can Fly was considering dedicated servers for the game? I kid you not. So a lot to talk about there. So let's do this. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here. Hope you're doing good. And let's dive straight into the latest happenings around Outriders. Let's do this. So yeah, it is a holiday in Poland. Of course, Poland is where People Can Fly is based out of. So we're not going to be hearing anything from the team right now, but hopefully we start hearing from them, as we enter the week. I personally do not believe they have given up on this game at all. I think they're caught up on this whole inventory wipe restoration process that they are currently working on in the back end, and it's taking up an immense amount of time, which is a huge problem for the community, and it's taking a lot of the morale out of the community as well. So it's time for People Can Fly to be super generous to the player base. I think we really need to get to the appreciation package. There was this appreciation package that was planned for the game, and I think it's overdue at this point. In fact, I want to talk a little bit more about how the community needs to be rewarded starting now. So this is the thread right here from Club Cola. He says, People Can Fly, be generous ASAP to rescue your game. I couldn't agree more. Says, why would you nerf the expedition rewards before launch? We've seen screenshots with one guaranteed legendary item at challenge tier 12 and above. We've seen also a world tier 15 multiplier of 800% more Legos. Why you change this? This is not a browser game or a live service game. There is no need to hold it so long in the game. I am farming over 50 hours to get better. The grind is a torture. I have no intention to play other builds or classes when I see this type of grind. A game like yours should be fun. Let me know if you guys are feeling the grind at this point, how many legendaries you're able to actually obtain, because from what I'm seeing from the community, it's all over the place. Someone's saying, hey, I've got so many legendaries, I don't know what to do with them. And then someone else is like, I can't find anything in this game. How in the world are you finding so many legendaries? And I had a feeling this would be a problem as indicated by the demo. But that's only a minor problem compared to, the inventory wipe issue we've been facing, the problem of getting kicked by, trolls in expedition. So right now, I think People Can Fly needs to consider getting some sort of appreciation package out. Even if this appreciation package wasn't planned, get some legendaries in the players' hands. In fact, it would be interesting if somehow they could do some sort of weekend where it's like double the chance to get legendaries on certain expeditions, certain missions, something to get the player base back into the game and, interested in the community while they are fixing this, restoration issue. They haven't even gotten to that. I thought for sure we would be beyond that at this point, but we are not. It's taking a lot longer than anticipated because they're worried about doing damage to accounts that weren't even affected by the inventory wipe in the first place. So that's their paranoia right now, and hopefully they can get through that and get us back into hearing about new content in the future, an expansion, something, and also what they plan to do with rebalancing the game, because they do plan to do some sort of rebalancing. Now, also, what's really interesting is this idea about how to fix expeditions, and it has tons of upvotes out on the community Reddit. This comes from Phils91. He says, drop pod loot should be given to player upon completion of an expedition. The opening should just be for theatrics, and he's referring to, of course, opening up that drop pod, and that in itself is triggering you being able to obtain the loot. Instead, it should be the fact that you have completed the expedition, and as a safeguard, no matter what, at that point, once you complete the expedition, if you get disconnected, you have the loot. You don't have to worry about opening up the drop pod. The game should know that it should reward you with the loot. And again, this is stuff that should have been originally designed in the game, in my opinion. Another thing that would have been cool to see with this game, of course, is dedicated servers. You know, Battlefield, that franchise has always had dedicated servers, and it's pretty famous for having some of the best servers for multiplayer, of course. But yeah, of course, that could be debated. But anyway, here's this thread right here from Ching Rock, who says, dedicated servers were on the table a long time ago, but we made the decision not to go in that direction. If something breaks for some reason, I'll say I was wrong. But right now, I'll say it works for us, and the way we're handling players, it should work. And this is Pator Nowalski from People Can Fly. Of course, we're going to dive into this article right now a little bit more, shall we? And this one comes from Gaming Bolt. It's actually really interesting stuff. It starts out by saying, Outriders won't have dedicated servers for multiplayer, and however, you'll still need access to a server to play the game, even if you want to play in single player. And this is one of the biggest problems with the game. It says, People Can Fly's Outriders is coming up in April. Of course, this is a little bit older of an article. Now, it goes on to say this. In recent interviews, lead designer Pator Nowalski provided some new details on the shooter. He confirmed to VG247 that there won't be any dedicated servers for its multiplayer. This is such a shame. It says, when we were developing the game quite a few years ago, when making the choices, we made the decision, okay, we're not going with the dedicated servers. Of course, on one side is the cost, or the other side are the technical solutions. And because we have 3-player co-op, we aren't forced to have dedicated servers. The current structures will be good enough. And that attitude of it being just good enough, I don't think did them any favors. Honestly, I think it would have been nice to have dedicated servers, and it wouldn't have been, as intensive, I don't think, as Battlefield. I mean, we're only talking about 3 players on, you know, a single instance, so I think it would have been nice to see dedicated servers. In fact, if we do see an Outriders 2, dedicated servers, in my mind, would be the way to go. If we ever see it, who knows? But let's keep going here in the article. Now, it says this. We've developed the game with that in mind, and dedicated servers were on the table for a long time ago. We made the decision not to go in that direction. If something breaks for some reason, I'll say it was wrong. But right now, I'll say it works for us, and the way we're handling players, it should work. Now, it says, this doesn't mean that dedicated servers won't be used at all. Since Outriders is an online-only title, they're employed to prevent any kind of hacking. As game director Bartosz Kamata notes, it's not a peer-to-peer game where everything's on your machine and you can hack it. You have to log into an account to play because you need to access the server. It's basically the distribution between how many things are calculated on the server and how many things are calculated on your machine. Even in games with dedicated servers, some calculations are on your machine, so it's about the proportion. So a smaller amount of calculations we have on a dedicated server, but most of the things go on the host machine. So you can see their thinking behind not going with dedicated servers. Honestly, it's such a shame because I know it probably would have made the game more stable. Or, hey, give us an offline mode. That would be really cool. Even if it's temporary during a launch of a game like this, highly recommend to have some portion of your game available offline, or the entirety of the game. That would be most notable. That's what I would love. But anyway, let's keep going, shall we? Now, we have this comment here from Indel SS, who says this: I really love this game and I want it to be successful. I really have enjoyed this game so far, and I really see some massive potential. But at the current state, I really struggle to enjoy this game, and it's very frustrating. I either randomly get one-shotted or have an Unreal Engine crash in expeditions. I completely understand that programming and fixing a game is a complicated thing, and I'm a patient person, but I fear that a lot of people are angry and impulsive, and rightfully so, and won't come back if there won't be at least a statement from People Can Fly soon about what is going on right now. So yeah, again, we're going through that Polish holiday right now. Hopefully we can work our way beyond that and get a statement very, very soon, in the coming days at least, from People Can Fly, and they can keep us up to date more often. I mean, even Square Enix's own community manager is nowhere to be around right now, so that is also a shame as well. So it's a bummer to see the state of the game that People Can Fly has left the community right now, wondering what is going on. But let's keep going. Let's talk about your top comments on my most recent video, which I think the title is definitely appropriate. It goes on to say this: the fan base goes into a total uproar after recent updates. What's the dev team doing next? Let's zoom in here a little bit, shall we? There. Scroll down here and take a look at what you guys had to say. So, Strog says this: I just find it funny how this game is online only, impossible to actually play online with people, and now they're making it hard to play by yourself. I've already stopped playing the game, but maybe I'll look back into it once me and my friends can play. And I've heard this so many times. You know, I've covered Fallout 76, Cyberpunk, and then, you know, of course, Outriders now. And when people start talking like this and saying that they've stopped playing the game and maybe look back on it once me and my friends can play, it's just, I feel like there's potential for everyone just to move on to the next game. I mean, there are going to be big announcements here very, very soon. I promise you that, in the gaming space, and you have a certain amount of time to keep people's attention. And I think that this game needs to be fixed more ASAP, and People Can Fly, again, needs to be considering rewarding players immediately, considering all the problems. All right, let's keep going. Deeper into the comments, we have Dan Pan, who says, me, I want to love this game. Lag, hold my beer. So yeah, would have been nice to see dedicated servers. Nate Thornstuff says, devs probably, welcome to Outriders, where the numbers are made up and your stats don't matter. So yeah, the one-shotted issue is another thing they have to tackle. Aaron Vick says, not everyone wants to rely on others to help them through challenge tier 15, and many people don't always have friends to play with. Yeah, you know, there needs to be some, I guess you would say, catering towards the single-player audience. Also considering this game has, like, more of a story-driven narrative feel to it than any other looter shooter on the market. You would think somehow, some way, they would think about catering to the single-player audience just because of that reason alone. All right, we have Haram, who says this: imagine a whole neighborhood on fire and one dude is just off to the side saying, my house is fine, yard's looking tip-top, where's the problem here? Yeah, that's another sentiment as well there. Now, FNQR Cold says the following. He goes on to say this: biggest issue I find is when playing with friends, half your mods don't work or activate. So yeah, there's many different issues facing the game, and they got to roll out more patches and fixes, but they're so caught up. I just know they're so caught up on the inventory restoration issue. And the thing is with that is, yeah, sure, people have had their inventories wiped, but they've probably moved on and made an alt character their main by now. You know, wouldn't you think that would be true? Let's get them rewards for going through this. At least in my opinion. That's what I think they should do. But that does it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. For all of the comments, sound off how you are feeling right now about Outriders, if you're just about ready to leave the game or not. And also, let me know what you would like to see in the future. Sound off in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.